Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel and welcome back to episode 2 of the Great Lockdown Bake Off. I'm really excited about today's video because it's quite a personal one for me. Most of you know that I was born and raised in Germany, and the recipe I'm sharing with you today is one that my mum used to make when I was little. I have given it my own twist and added a couple of extra ingredients, which you will see later on in the video. What we're making today in German is called Speckbrötchen, which translated to English means bacon bread rolls. Yes, they are as delicious as they sound. Before we head down to the kitchen, I just wanted to say a couple of really important things. Because we'll be using knives and a frying pan and our stove and loads of different ingredients, please make sure that you ask an adult before you do so. And please make sure you have them with you when you use all these things. We want it to be safe and fun at the same time. Also remember to wash your hands before touching the food. So now that we're ready, let's head down to the kitchen and get this started. Here we are in my kitchen, ready to get started. First of all, let me show you what ingredients we will need. So I got 300 milliliters of lukewarm water. It's important that it is a little bit warm because it helps the yeast activate. We will then need a little bit of salt, not this much though. Some yeast. I already measured 400 grams of plain flour. And I have a bowl here and a little measuring spoon for the yeast. We're going to start by pouring in the flour into our mixing bowl. I already washed my hands before we started the video. There you go, all in there. We're then going to add yeast. I am using 1 teaspoon to measure. There we go, teaspoon of yeast in. Perfect. I'm going to use a tiny dash more. There we go. We're then going to use a pinch of salt, not too much, just a tiny bit. So I like to pour a little bit in my hand. Yep, just like that, and then in. Okay, so I'm just going to take off my rings. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix all our dry ingredients together. Make sure that the yeast mixes nicely with the flour and the salt as well. Make sure you roll up your sleeves properly because we're now going to add the water. I'm going to add the water bit by bit, and what I like to do is mix with one hand to start with and keep one hand clean. It just helps with holding the bowl and it's a bit less messy as well. So I'm going to add a bit of water. I'm going to mix it around. You're going to love this. This is really fun. And also, as soon as the water gets in there, it starts to smell delicious because of the yeast and the flour mixing together. Right, I'm going to add the next bit of water. Keep mixing. It's going to get quite sticky, but that's okay. We're just going to keep working our way through. Okay, I'm all done mixing. This is what it looks like. The dough is still pretty sticky, but that is what we want. It doesn't need to be smooth. It will stick to your hands quite a lot, but that's all right. We're now going to take a clean tea towel. We're going to put it over the dough like this. Now we're going to bring it somewhere where it can rest for 40 minutes. It's best for the dough to rest in a warm place. But what I like to do is while I'm making the dough, I put the oven on for just a few minutes. And it just gets the oven a little bit warm, but then I turn it off straight away so it's not too hot. And then you can put the dough in and let it rest and it will rise to about double its size. There it is. See you in 40 minutes. While the dough is resting in the oven, I'm going to get the other ingredients ready. I'm starting off by cutting up a pack of unsmoked bacon into little cubes. I've taken the fat off as well. I am then taking an onion, slicing it up into little cubes as well. We're going to take the whole one half and the other. Make sure that you watch out for your fingers while you do this. Maybe ask an adult to help you. In the meantime, I have been melting a little bit of butter in the pan, ready for the onions and the bacon. Move it around, onions and bacon in. We're going to stir them and fry them until they're nice and crispy. While that's happening, I've been grating a little bit of cheese, some cheddar and some red Leicester. Now the bacon and onions have been cooking for a while, so I'm going to turn off the heat. They're nice and crispy now, and I'm going to move them to the side to let them cool down. Okay, so the dough has about 5 more minutes left to rise in the oven. So what I'm going to show you in the meantime is how to get your baking trays ready for baking later. I've used many different ways, but I found that this one works the best. Don't use baking paper because the rolls will stick onto it. Use this method instead. So we're going to take a little bit of butter. This is where it gets a little bit messy. You can use a brush if you have one, but I'm just going to use my fingers. So you take a tiny blob of butter on each tray. Put that over here. And then you just take it and spread it. Make sure you coat your whole tray. Now this part is done, we're going to take our flour that we used earlier and we're just going to put a tiny bit on each tray. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move the tray around. Might have to tap it a little bit. If you get some flour on the table, that's fine, just wipe it afterwards. Tap it around. And you will see that the flour is going to start to stick to the butter and it's going to create a bit of a layer on the tray. Now I need to wipe the table. Time to check on our bread. Are you ready? There you go. I don't know if you can see it, but it has definitely doubled in size. Fantastic. Time for the next step. Okay, we have all our ingredients and our dough has risen very nicely. So now it's time to put it all together and form it into some bread rolls. I like to use a spoon for this next step rather than my hands because the dough is still fairly sticky and the spoon does actually work quite well. So we're going to start by taking the dough, and what we're going to do with the spoon, we're just going to knock some of that air out. We're then going to take our onions and bacon that we prepared earlier. This has now cooled down a little bit, which is important before adding it. Put it all in there. Perfect. Start mixing it around. When you mix it in a little bit, we're going to start adding our cheese. I'm going to start with our Leicester and some cheddar. This is what it looks like. Loads of delicious things in there. Now it's time to form the rolls. So we're going to take our baking tray, and with this amount of dough you can get between 12 to 16 rolls depending on how big you make them. So take one spoon and get a nice good scoop about this size, and then we're going to place it onto our baking tray, form it into a nice little ball. And there, perfect. There you go, all the rolls are on the trays, and we're now going to leave them for another 20 minutes to give them a second rise. So the rolls have risen for the second time. I've put some leftover cheese on top of these ones and left those ones plain. We're now going to move them into our preheated oven at 200 degrees. They need baking for 20 to 25 minutes, depending on your oven. I baked mine for 23 minutes and they were perfect. Okay, the rolls are ready, let's go check them out. Here we go. Whew. Oh my goodness. Right, let's take them out. One. Looking amazing. You guys, I wish YouTube had a smell option because they smell incredible. Here they are. Check them out. They look amazing and they smell amazing, and they're super easy to make. Now for the most important part, the taste test. Here we go. Look how fluffy they are on the inside. Perfect. Let's try it. Good crunch on the outside. Super fluffy on the inside. Delicious. Tastes just like home. I'm gonna have another bite. One more top tip about these, you can make a whole batch in advance, bake them, and once you let them fully cool, you can freeze them for a couple of months in your freezer. And just take them out whenever you need them to defrost them. Put them back in the oven for a couple of minutes to get them nice and crispy, and they will be as good as on the first day you made them. Thank you so much everyone for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed me sharing a little bit of my German heritage with you. Give this video a like if you're excited to try out the recipe, and comment down below what your twist on it is. If you haven't seen our latest videos, go check them out, especially the big announcement one, because I still need your vote to decide which challenge I'm gonna do on Saturday. Have a good rest of your day everyone, enjoy the baking, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!